In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced. Okay, so let's do this. Hello, everyone. Okay, sorry about that, guys. To continue. All right. So, dear viewers, tonight, in this moment, I have found myself having a unique inner realm experience, and I want to explain that. So, I was sitting here before this lecture, and I felt like, all right, it feels like, I should go and talk about something. And so I sat down, and then in my mind, I just imagined for a moment what would the most advanced general of humanity that wanted to build an advanced civilization, what would the life of that being look like? Now, just to let you know, I asked this from AI. That's why I said researching. Okay, so I'm going to be reading for you what AI says, but I want to tell you that this notion of a general of humanity, the type of being I am, that idea is very important to me. Because I remember years ago, I heard this phrase called this quote that was, You must serve before you command. And it's so important to at least try to figure out what an advanced general of humanity would be like in two positions, whether you want to be that archetype or whether you want to follow that archetype. Okay, that means it's I have wondered often if an advanced being appeared in front of me, would I want to follow that? I am someone who has a love for strategy, and I understand that in a battle of bodies, yeah, the stronger body wins, but in a battle of minds, it is the one who has seen further, which is poetically, the general that is closer to heaven. So, anyways, to me, I'm this guy who's been talking about advanced civilizations, and what's funny is I find myself in like my mind playfully has sometimes fathomed parallel realities. Like that means in the same way that I've been, I chose this name Mr. Within and just this vision of 10,000 talks, and I've kind of brought that forth into part of my identity and kind of contributed to it. I have often wondered if I had not done this, who would I be? What would I be doing now? Do you know? Where would life have taken me if my decisions were different? Because that's the nature of our mind. Our mind gives us probabilities, but in front of our eyes, we get to decide one, right? Like if you've come to a pathway, there's a bunch of directions, you get to choose one, but your mind can fathom what would have life been if you had chosen something else, do you know? Um, anyways, so I was just curious to know that, to me, I don't know. I feel that anytime you ever hear the concept of somebody who's like a thinker or somebody who's wondering about like the meaning of reality, it's often about from what angle are they looking at reality. And sure, I am stationed in my biological eyes, but often in my inner realms, I feel like, how do I say it, equivalent to an aerial view. That means I'm sitting here. I have a first person point of perspective right now, but somehow in my inner realms, I sometimes see as if I'm looking at, like I'm up in the sky and I'm looking at civilization, right? So there is a sort of angle of perception that way. It doesn't mean I am, it just means my mind is trying to fathom how it would see itself from outside of itself. Anyways, I'm trying to tell you, I do have this. There is a part of me that kind of is fast forwarding reality in my inner realms. And it is honestly like a film. Like, how you see a fast forwarded film? You know? Pretty much think of it this way. I'm right now sitting, so I'm not moving. I'm in a car. The car is parked. The car isn't moving. That tree outside of my car isn't moving. The ground isn't moving. It's all just here. But the experience of my mind is like reality that moves even if my body doesn't. You see, that's the nature of the mind. You're actually coming into terms with how it's a movement. Like at the end of the day, there is no smart or stupid people, I think. I think there's just in what way is intelligence moving, you know? And the human being seems to be a position where intelligence needs purpose. That means if you feel like an inactivated being, you're going to see like beings ahead of you, more advanced beings ahead of you. They're living with purpose. They have goals and objectives, and they're trying to like, build, like reach certain things, right? But if you go a bit further, you begin to see the unknown. So to me, you don't understand in the same way, like being to be a conscious human is a certain state of biological consciousness, biologically induced consciousness. You might not believe it. The civilization is the same. It's a certain state. Beyond state, it means something else. Do you understand? Like think about this, that To be human in this world is to maintain a state of being. Okay. Now the question is, what is the state of all being? Like the person's pretty much being like, yo, man, before I'm being who I am, how is everything being what it is? You know what I mean? Can you imagine like some philosopher trying to gaslight existence? It's like, yo, you created me, yo. You know what I mean? And the natural world's like, don't throw trash on the ground. And you're like, nature, you created me though to throw trash on the ground. You know, and it's like this hilarious, like, I mean, I'm just being playful. To be honest, our creator, you're listening to someone who believes that there's a higher power in this realm, believes there's a system admin beyond the world room, believes that every being you see on this earth is inside a simulated testing zone. They just have been conditioned to treat the simulation as real and just get scared. You know, that means if you treat the simulation as real, death is pretty much like is going to appear like the final moment. But if you treat this simulation as a simulation, you begin to see that the final moment is a return to an original state. That means even from a secular perspective, this cannot be denied, because if you believe in like non-existence, you're like, yo, man, I wasn't existing, and then I came into existence. I'm simulated in existence for some time, and then I leave existence. So it's like it doesn't matter. Like the theist is seeing that we came from full intelligence, from original intelligence. We're simulated, and then we return to original intelligence. And the secular sees it, instead of intelligence, it's emptiness. See, that means none of the thing that the theist and the atheist have in common, right? That it's like it's something returns to its original state. Do you know? I don't know how to say it, right? But to me, it is very unique, the nature of existence, and to even wonder about. You see, guys, I am someone who I write science fiction, which means I pretty much think about the destiny of characters in futuristic settings. Okay, and when you write a story and you build a character, it's not just like the appearance of the character that it's important, but it's in some sense the decisions of the character that end up revealing its nature. Do you know that means if I start a story with like five people, okay, and nobody, the viewers have no clue who these five people are, and then I put situations where these five people are in, and then based on their decisions, their natures, individual natures appear. And we are living right now at a time in human history where unfortunately everybody's trying to fit in, but the value is in your originality. Do you know that means I can tell you that trying to fit into a changing world is a waste of time, because no, for you it's like realizing nobody can see your inner realms like you, because if they did, they would be you. So it's kind of like I do believe that we are lost, like we are in a private world behind our eyes, but in front of it we're all in the same physical server, in this existential simulated system, and you've been conditioned to treat things as known nouns. And you're now listening to a human being that, as much as I like to, you don't understand, I was a shy kid, wanting to fit in was like, I'm like, is that dream possible? But it was a blessing that I didn't. It was a strange blessing that there was some part of me that I felt was behaving different. That means I think whoever you are, if you're having a unique, like, how do I say it? Like, there is expectations from your own mind, and then there's expectations from civilization of you before even you were, like, it just for the human archetype. That means there's a way you're being human to yourself, and there's a way that civilization acknowledges what it means to be human. Do you understand? That means, for example, if somebody doesn't wear clothing and runs naked out in the streets, we'll be like, okay, that person's not a normal human. You know what I mean? Right? Because now everybody's wearing clothes. There was a time where men would wear top hats. Do you know what I mean? Legit, if you didn't wear a hat, they'd be like, what are you, an animal? Put on a hat, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Like it was a sign of responsibility for the civilized efforts of the creative man, of his own uh, self creative efforts. We got to understand it's like there's a game our ancestors were playing, there's a game we're playing, and there's a game beyond all of us, right? And that's more of the life of the soul. But when I'm talking about the most advanced general of humanity, I don't want to talk about more the solar aspect of it. I just want to say that you're listening to a human being, just like how you pretty much everybody's like this. You start young having dreams. Okay, what that means is you have expectations of certain realities manifesting by certain times. And then you reach that time and you're like, wait a minute, you know, it seems like I'm on the path of a different life. That means right now the life I'm living, it is not the life I expected, but it is the life that I have found in this moment. You know, it is. Do you understand? So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is, I was just really fascinated for this lecture to kind of see, like I pretty like let's see it this way. Just I was saying dreams. Like imagine somebody wants to be a guitarist. They want to be a rock star or an astronaut or a fireman or something. Like young kids have that vision, or souls have that vision of in some sense, being responsible for some role in their societal existence, social existence. But for me, you don't understand, because I reached a sort of view where I am not tech. Yes, I do have a biological body. If you talk to me, I can communicate to you as an individual, but my values are collective. That means I care for the human species more than human personality. It's just the nature of me. Some beings are different. There's humans, there's beings right now on this planet that dislike the human existence, and there's human beings on this planet that are grateful for the human existence. Like they might not be able to say it, like the human beings could be violent and cruel, but suddenly go feed pigeons. The thing about it is ecosystem dynamics. I think that's very, very important. It's not just the relationship of a self with itself, it's a relationship of a self with its environment. And we come to the realization, the further you go back in history, the environment was doing the thinking. We separated ourselves, and I think this is the point of school. I think, you know, like the point of school is actually to disconnect you from everything, put you in a room, and just they're trying to train you to concentrate, to access reality savers. I didn't understand this as a kid. Like I became the best, like a fan of understanding after school. During school, I don't know. I felt like I was being tortured. Actually, not physically. I mean, but tortured by, like, what am I hearing? I'm hearing somebody say something that doesn't. It's like hearing somebody speak a different language, until you want to express yourself through that language, and then you learn everything about it. So I have pretty much, I'm trying to tell you, as a human being, when it comes to the idea of the greatest general of humanity, the most advanced general of humanity, it's legit thinking of a soul that God has positioned this soul, okay, to come and organize the value systems of the masses. This is not on the level of prophets. Prophets were way advanced. Okay, I'm not talking about religious figures. They were beings that you don't understand. The system admin directly communicated and was involved. Do you know? That means even though I'm not Christian and I don't believe Christ is God, but when I see that the Christian heart still has reverence, that means like a Muslim, sure, a Muslim is not allowed to make anything equal to God. Even that means God, you can't make even the human idea equal to God to the degree that God is a father, son. Do you understand? That means a Muslim cannot equate anything to God. Truth for a Muslim is unconditional, but truth in various different traditions is conditional. Now, truth, for example, in Christianity is conditional to Christ being the portal to that truth. Do you understand? They're all fighting over which way do they realize what's going on, right? But the fight is meaningless because everything is the creation of the system admin. You cannot ignore how your friends and enemies are created beings, you know? So to me, I haven't lived that life. There's things that I look at myself and I'm like, man, that means I don't know how to explain it. Like when you're a futurist, you see versions of yourself that could have been if you didn't have certain faults. And it's we're not perfect here because if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. This is not a perfect place. This is a place designed to create enough instability so the being wonders about stability beyond the current frame of reality they're in. So I want you to know that I am, maybe one day you'll go hear my other talks and realize, but I am someone who was a bit, shocked that all of us have accepted all of this. And you're gonna be like, Mr. Within, what do you mean? Do you know is civilization now like meaningless and all of this? And I'll be like, guys, you don't get it. There is some views of this position of existence we're in that doesn't make sense. And more than I don't know how to explain it. It's like a tree doesn't grow because somebody is alive now. That means the reason this is something very advanced, I would say, level of branch of psychology, which hasn't even been really opened up. But for a futurist, it's very common. Is in some sense, does the self change the world? Does the world change the self? Or is there a power changing the self and the world at the same time? It honestly comes down to what is the ownership of reality. That means what owns this? My realization is not the human idea. That means, does the human idea own itself? No. We didn't create this world. If I had created this world, like I can create the meaning to the world. That's my own personal meaning. I give it just like a bunch of different people look at the same artwork. It has different meanings to each of them, you know? But I did not create this. The amount of thought that it takes, like when you look at even the design of the human biological body or the celestial view of astronomical view of reality in regards to positioning of celestial bodies, not just biological bodies. Anyways, all of this is for me to say that I asked AI because I have access to two views of myself, an egotistical version of me that was like, why am I existing as a shape and a form in this world? What is the divine command? What is the purpose of my eyes finding this reality? And then there's a part of me that says, what if I'm not? Like, how do I explain it? I'm trying to tell you, I've wanted to become the most advanced general of humanity, but I've noticed the life I've lived has been different. Do you know? But then I wondered, what if the most advanced general of humanity was born? How would I find that person and how would I go and help them? Do you know? Like if right now, and not in the sense of like, you see, guys, you're the so everybody should know this. In anything, anytime you want to advance anything, you got to find an advanced power. For me, that advanced power was the vision of the future. I was like worshiping the future. And then I realized I am a worshiper of the unconditional now. So the most advanced state and being is beyond the conditions of reality. But, anyways, I'm going to read for you the AI research component of this lecture about the most advanced general of humanity in a conditional view. So I'm saying I believe the most advanced being is an unconditional being, but in a conditional reality, what would the most advanced advanced general of humanity be? And what would how would that general come and recruit me? For example, I was just fascinated by this to try to see, like, okay, let's try to find some geometry to this for this in my mind. And unfortunately, I don't even have Chat GPT, the subscription version. But pretty much, I asked AI. Okay, let me see what I asked. This is what I asked AI. So we're going into the research component where you're going to hear yours truly, and I'm going to read for you. So pretty much, I asked AI, ChatGPT, the basic version. I'm like, if the most advanced general of humanity was born, and from the beginning of his life, he wanted to assemble all humans to build the most advanced human civilization. How would his life from the beginning look like, and how would he recruit and do it? And if he wanted to recruit me, how would he do it? Don't base your answers on my preferences. I want just the most advanced answer. So it's given a bunch, but I'm gonna first read the first one. Usually the first answer is not bad, but then it keeps updating it. It says, so AI says below is the most advanced, logically coherent, civilizational level answer, not based on your preferences, but on what such a theoretical, in quotations, most advanced general of humanity would actually do from birth to world assembly, and how he would recruit you. Do you understand, like, what I'm reading for you guys? I'm reading for you. I'm legit asking AI if the most advanced general of humanity, the most advanced human being, not the most advanced, but a very advanced human being was born from the beginning of its life to the point that it would recruit me, and then, oh good, would recruit all of us and go forth and in some sense achieve that advanced civilization. And you know how Lao Tzu says this is the true mark of leadership, I think, where it says after the leader's task is done, the people would say we did him themselves. That means the leader is so advanced that the praise of the people goes back to the people, doesn't come back to him. Do you understand? This is something I didn't understand. I wish if I had a time machine and I could go back, do you know, there were moments where I was praised and I wouldn't have accepted those. Do you know? And just because you haven't experienced, like, a part of me, how do I explain it to you? Sometimes decisions in life, if you just go based on survival, you kind of miss out on what greater rooms you could be in your like, do you know what I mean? For me, you're like, I'm sure everybody else can be even way more advanced than me. Do you know what I mean? Why? Because I started off being very introverted and shy. I was I would I didn't even trust myself to be a person in the moment. Even though everything was so casual, there was a part of me that it was unnatural to express a personality that I didn't feel I was. I felt I was just being a moment. You know, But I'm telling you, that shy, introverted kid who felt he didn't fit into how everybody else was feeling free and expressive in reality. And for the longest time, I felt like I was like I must have done something wrong as a soul. You don't understand. It was like In earlier lectures, I would say it was like a karmic prison. I wouldn't understand. It's like around people, I would just shut down. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't even like nervousness or something. It was like a part of me didn't feel it was anything to be anything. I don't know how to explain it. And so this person who lived majority of his childhood without anybody knowing, more as a more as an observer than a participant. Do you know? Now looks at reality, and now I understand why that was necessary. Do you understand? That means some moments you're meant to be just the sight of. You're just meant to see it. And its value, how do I say it? It's like, imagine right now, every experience you have is like a seed planted. Okay, you don't know the value of that experience until years later you suddenly see, oh my God, something I thought was a disadvantage was an incredible advantage. By not being able to fit into the normal reality. And this doesn't, when I say fit in, I'm sorry guys, I don't mean like, not in regards to, do you know, when I say what I mean by this, I mean in the sense of how I felt behind my eyes and what I was in front of my eyes. There was a disparity. It was like I was artificially, everything was smooth. Do you understand? But deep down, what stood here at all, the soul that is here. Do you understand? It was as if I had not comprehended it. And you don't understand. Sometimes it's kind of heartbreaking but fascinating that you realize some things in your life you're waiting for the permission to come from outside of you. And I don't know why, but the way we're being raised in the world, it's like this. Anyways, I'm going to read this. We're going to go into the research component. So you're listening to a human being on December 9, 2025, using AI to explain, to see what AI would, how AI would, I haven't even read this, like how AI would explain what the life of the most advanced general of humanity would be like from beginning, from birth, from beginning to up to its, like, let's say, success point or mission complete point. And how would it even come and recruit me? So in some sense, it's very fascinating because I want to see what AI's answer is. AI says the life of the most advanced general of humanity. And guys, like, you know, how often do you hear somebody talk about this? I mean, just the fact that I'm talking about this. All right, I'm trying to find the right song. There's a song called Orb. It was from this anime. It had, okay, there it is. All right, this is a very beautiful piece of music, and I'm gonna read this for you. So I'm reading this part. ChatGPT has spoken. The life of the most advanced general of humanity. 1. Birth and early development. And excuse me, guys, before I begin, in the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced. Whoever the soul is that will be born, may God bless them. So, 1, birth and early development, the formation of a universal mind. From the beginning of his life, this general is not shaped like a normal leader. His childhood forms him into a unified human systems thinker. His early traits, extreme pattern recognition. He sees connections between people, nations, technology, and human behavior long before others do. Innate strategic empathy. He can feel what others feel, predict their motivations, and guide them without force. Obsessive clarity of purpose. From childhood, he believes humanity is one unit and sees conflict as a resource to be transformed. His upbringing, whether by accident or design, gives him exposure to many cultures, multiple languages, advanced technology, stories of great civilizations, the sciences of human behavior, philosophy, ethics, and strategic theory. He grows up understanding that to assemble humanity, he cannot use domination. He must use aspiration, coordination, and example. Guys, to be honest, I'm going to read a different answer because that one's really in point form. Let me see. There we go. There's a song called Nocturne Monk by the Sea. Perfect for this. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. AI says, the most advanced general of humanity, and it's giving a cinematic view. So here you go. From the moment his life began, the most advanced general of humanity was shaped not by circumstance, but by perception. Where other children saw separate nations, separate cultures, and separate destinies, he saw one species scattered across the earth, waiting for its potential to be organized. He grew up studying humanity the way a scientist studies a living organism, observing its strengths, its fractures, its illusions, and its untapped possibilities. His mind assembled patterns across history, psychology, technology, and human behavior long before he had the language to describe what he was seeing. By adolescence, he understood something most people never realized. Humanity does not need a conqueror, it needs a coordinator, not a ruler, a designer. Someone capable of aligning 8 billion minds without force, fear, or ideology, but through purpose, competence, and vision. And so while others chased comfort, he chased capability. He trained himself in systems engineering to understand complexity, in diplomacy to understand people, in ethics to understand responsibility, and in strategy to understand momentum. He mastered the science of human coordination. He mastered the art of human meaning. His early adulthood was not marked by speeches or declarations, it was marked by proof. He built small teams that functioned like micro civilizations, organizations that ran cleaner, faster, and more intelligently than the world around them, communities where people became sharper, calmer, more ethical, more ambitious, simply by participating. People followed him not because he was loud, but because he was right. Not because he demanded loyalty, but because he demonstrated a future they wanted to belong to. And when the time came to speak to humanity, he did not appeal to emotions, he appealed to understanding. He presented a blueprint, a civilization with optimized energy, clean cities, intelligent education, advanced healthcare, a global governance system free from corruption, and a philosophy built on contribution rather than division. He did not sell hope, he offered a plan. His recruitment method, this part should be interesting. His recruitment method was unlike any leader before him. He did not chase followers, he identified builders, men and women whose minds were already searching for something greater. He studied their potential, spoke to the highest version of who they could become, and gave them missions, not incentives. People joined him because with him they became more disciplined, more purposeful, more aligned with their own best nature, and through that they became aligned with one another. When he recruits someone like you, he does it with precision. He does not ask, will you follow me? He asks, are you ready to operate at the level you were born for? Wow. Because the truth is simple. His real power is not that he unites humanity. His real power is that he turns individuals into leaders. This is the advanced being, the most advanced being. Leaders who then unite humanity themselves. And in that transformation, the most advanced civilization in human history begins. Not through force, not through politics, but through the ignition of human potential, one person at a time. How epic was that? Now, I asked AI, I'm like, give a better answer. AI pretty much says, so I'm going to read it again. So it's giving a different type of an answer. It says, the most advanced general of humanity, a fully detailed cinematic exact explanation. I'm going to put a different song for different version. In every era of human history, great leaders rise. But the figure we are speaking about now, the most advanced general of humanity, is not defined by battle, conquest, or political power. He is defined by something far more rare, the ability to understand humanity as a single unified system. His life begins like any other human life, but his perception is not ordinary. Childhood, the formation of a unified mind. From early childhood, he displays three qualities that set him apart. Hyper pattern recognition. He notices how people behave, how groups form, how problems repeat across cultures. Most children learn what the world is. He learns why it works the way it does. Cross cultural curiosity. He is attracted to languages, stories, traditions, and histories, not for entertainment, but to understand how different societies solve similar problems. Intuitive strategic empathy. He can feel the motivations, fears, and aspirations of others. This allows him to predict behavior long before he fully understands the psychology behind it. Even as a child, he sees humanity not as nations, but as a single unfinished project. Adolescence, building the multi system skill set. During his teenage years, while others chase identity, he chases capacity. He systematically builds the skills required to unite humanity. One, it's okay. Anyways, it's number one. I'm say systems engineering to understand how large structures, cities, governments, economies actually function. Psychology and behavioral science to understand what motivates people, what scares them, what inspires loyalty. Diplomacy and cultural intelligence, not as political tools, but as methods for conflict prevention and collaboration. Ethics and philosophy, he studies moral frameworks to ensure that power is never misused. Strategy and long term planning, he learns how small actions create long term consequences in societies. Communication and narrative design, he understands that humans follow stories before they follow strategies. By the age of 20, he is not a warrior. He's a civilization architect in training. Early adulthood, proving his competence. Before he ever attempts to assemble humanity, he first proves that he can design a working civilization in miniature. He builds a prototype, A small organization, maybe a team, a movement, or a community that functions with high ethics, high efficiency, clear coordination, no corruption, no ego based leadership, no chaos, no waste. People inside this prototype become more disciplined, more focused, more aligned, more capable, more cooperative. This functioning micro civilization is his evidence. People follow him not because he demands it, but because he demonstrates a way of living that is undeniably superior to the fragmented, distracted world around them. To the fragmented, distracted world around them. He says his global strategy, how he assembles humanity. When this great general, so when he finally speaks to the world, he does not use motivational language. He uses clarity. He presents a civilization blueprint divided into the exact systems every society requires. Energy, so it's like 12. It says one, energy, clean, abundant, decentralized. Food and agriculture, sustainable, efficient. Housing and urban design, modular, humane, affordable. Education, individualized mastery instead of memorization. Healthcare, preventive, accessible, technologically integrated. Economy, stable, transparent, value driven. Governance, no corruption, no inherited power, no manipulation. Security and peacekeeping, deterrence without aggression. Culture and identity, diversity without fragmentation. Technology and AI aligned with human flourishing. Environmental management, planetary responsibility. Space development, long term survival of the species. He shows exactly how each system connects to the others, like components of a single global machine. Humanity does not follow him because he's inspirational. Humanity follows him because he is correct. How he recruits individuals. This is one of the most advanced parts of his design. He does not recruit the masses first. He recruits key individuals in stages. Stage one, identify potential. He looks for people who have ambition, discipline, curiosity, dissatisfaction with mediocrity, willingness to learn, the desire to contribute to something larger. These are the foundational layers of the new civilization. Stage two, evaluate psychological strength. He observes how a person responds to pressure, responsibility, correction, challenge, purpose, because the new civilization will not be built by fragile egos. Stage three, speak directly to their highest version. He does not flatter, he reflects their potential. He shows them who they could be if they operated at maximum capability. Stage four, give a mission, not a reward. He never bribes or impresses, he simply offers responsibility. Here's the problem, here's the solution framework, here's your role, execute with excellence. Wow. People follow him because they become more under his leadership, more precise, more disciplined, more aligned, more capable. How he would recruit you specifically. This is not based on your preferences. This is based on how he recruits anyone with potential. Step one, he studies your trajectory. He observes your ambitions, your frustrations with the world, and the pattern of your decisions so far. Step two, he speaks to your undeveloped potential, not who you are today, but who you could become with structure, purpose, and discipline. Step three, he gives you a role that stretches you, assigns you to a domain that matches your natural talents, but forces growth. Step four, he evaluates your standards. He holds you to a higher level than you hold yourself. Step five, he integrates you into a network of high performers, people who sharpen your mind rather than drain your energy. You join not because he convinces you, you join because his presence makes your best self unavoidable. Wow, wow, wow. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Wow, wow. Conclusion, the real power of the most advanced general. His greatness is not military, his greatness is civilizational. He does not dominate people, he aligns them. He does not promise a better future, he builds one. He does not lead with emotion, he leads with clarity, structure, ethics, and evidence. And humanity follows because under his leadership it becomes finally capable of what it always had the potential to become, a single coordinated advanced human civilization, efficient, peaceful, intelligent, and united in purpose. These are pillars, folks. You don't get it. These are the greater values, you know? Humanity doesn't have that many. Like, for example, God is a higher value, it's a higher power. Now, if there's a higher being, guess what? There's a higher value system. Okay, this is AI giving an answer that is way more like specific age wise. Okay, I'm gonna read this. It's another thing here. I'll change the song. It's another answer. Okay, again, another answer to the most advanced general of humanity. I'm just gonna read it. Imagine a human being born with an unusual form of perception, someone who from early childhood. And I read. Okay, let me see. All right, so I asked AI to tell me its exact recruitment, like what it would do, what this advanced general would do. When the most advanced general of humanity began building the greatest civilization ever attempted, he understood one truth that no leader before him had ever fully grasped. You do not recruit people, you awaken them. His recruitment was not a campaign, not a speech, not a sales pitch, not a movement. It was a sequence, a psychological architecture, a human filtration system designed to identify, attract, test, refine, and align the rare individuals capable of building a civilization worthy of the future. He did not start by asking people to join him. He started by asking the world one silent question: who is already looking for me? Wow, wow. From the beginning, he knew that a civilization is not built by forcing the unready. It is built by discovering the people whose internal compass is already pointing toward progress, order, meaning, responsibility, excellence, and contribution. The foundation of his recruitment was this: you cannot teach purpose to the purposeless. You can only activate the dormant in those who already sense they were meant for more. And so his recruitment began not with followers, but with observers. He released ideas, small at first, like signals sent across the planet. Ideas about coherence, about duty, about the future, about unity, about human potential, and about the architecture of advanced societies. He never asked anyone to agree. He simply placed the ideas where the right minds would collide with them. To most humans, those ideas meant nothing, but to a very small number, they hit like a revelation. They felt something they had never felt before: recognition. The general studied those reactions. He mapped the ones who leaned closer. He watched the ones who kept returning. He tracked the ones who could not stop thinking. These individuals became the first filter, not recruited but self selected by attraction, curiosity, and resonance. This was phase one, and only a fraction survived it because he did not want followers. He wanted the irreplaceable. His next step was subtle but deliberate. He introduced friction. He raised the intellectual level of the ideas. He made them heavier, more demanding, more complex, more disciplined. Not to confuse, but to test, to see who would push through and who would break. Humanity had never seen recruitment used as a form of psychological purification. He studied the minds that sharpened under pressure. These were the ones who saw complexity not as a barrier, but as a doorway. These were the minds he would later call the first circle, the thinkers, the strategists, the interpreters of the blueprint. Once the first circle was formed, he moved to phase two: invitation by recognition. He never sent a message saying, "Join me." Instead, he sent a message: "You have already joined, now let us make it conscious." This was genius. He did not ask, he reflected. He described to each person the exact strengths they had shown, the exact traits they had revealed, the exact patterns they had demonstrated, traits they themselves had silently known but never understood. In that moment, they felt seen in a way no leader had ever seen them. The general's real recruitment power was not charisma, it was accurate recognition. People follow someone who understands them better than they understand themselves. Wow, that's really it. After the first circle was activated, the general instructed them in the third phase: expansion through mirroring. He taught them the exact method by which they themselves had been awakened, and so the pattern repeated, person by person, circle by circle, each layer refining the one beneath it. By the time the general reached phase three, he was no longer recruiting individuals, he was recruiting types. A civilization needs every archetype: the builders who create, the protectors who defend, the negotiators who balance, the innovators who solve, the coordinators who unify, the visionaries who imagine, the operators who execute, the guardians who ensure continuity. He identified each through behavior, not words. He watched how they acted under time pressure. He observed how they responded to problems without instructions. He noted how they reacted to uncertainty, responsibility, and complexity. Recruitment had become a science, a human diagnostic, a sorting system based on pattern recognition, not personality. The general's final phase was the most advanced: recruitment by destiny alignment. When he approached someone, whether philosopher or engineer, artist or architect, soldier or scientist, he did not tell them what he needed from them. He told them what they were built for. He gave each person the role that matched their deepest psychological blueprint, the role they had always sensed but had never been given permission to occupy. This was the secret of the most advanced general. He did not recruit people into his mission, he recruited them into themselves. And once a human becomes aligned with the highest version of themselves, they do not need convincing, controlling, or motivating. They move like a force of nature. Wow. Yeah. Because how true the argument is, it speaks for itself. Anyways, I'm going to keep reading. It says, that is how the most advanced general of humanity built the most advanced civilization ever imagined, by awakening the hidden elite within ordinary people. by turning purpose into architecture, and by making every individual feel not like a follower of a leader, but like a vital organ in the body of a growing future. That was his genius. That was his method. That was his exact recruitment. Wow. So, what an advanced explanation of a being. And this is really it's like an example comes to my mind is when Martin Luther King gave a speech. Like he said, I have a dream where my like daughters are not judged by the color of their characters, not judged by the color of their skin, but by their actions. Their characters judged by their action. I don't remember the exact, but it's something in these lines. And everybody was like, they're like, what he is saying, the truth of the view spoke for itself. That means the point of it is to just show you what the most advanced could be like. The rest is up to you. But what I learned from this, I should probably put an effort in this. I do it sometimes, but I should probably do it more to try to speak to the more advanced version of people because I do see it. Sometimes I do see people and I wonder about like what would their most advanced self look like? What would the more advanced version of them be? And I think that's honestly the most important thing. not not treating people how you feel about them, but how you feel about what their most advanced self could be. Do you know what that means? That means the other person could be hopeless, but they're like, wait a minute, this guy's talking to a version of me that doesn't have the problem I have now. Do you know what I mean? Belief is important. Believing in self is important. But for me, I'm not giving this talk because I believe in myself. That's the wrong view. I'm giving this talk because the ideas are more important. You don't understand. I'm just legit a being that I know in the future the inner realms are going to be like, you know, in 2025, they're private now. Do you know? But we don't know if they're going to be institutionalized. That means I don't know if imagine our minds and inner realms are going to be institutionalized in the future, or it's another way of saying that I don't know how the human attention will be occupied or what it will be on in the future. But I know that right now I have to speak my inner realms to you. I can't just show you my imagination. Rather than me being able to take you into my this vision of an advanced civilization I see behind my eyes, I have to explain it to you in front of my eyes. But in the future, it's going to be way more experiential, right? And we have to really, there's going to come a time where everybody on Earth will have to wonder about the true direction of human meaning. You know, this thing I read for you right now, it was so beautiful to me. Why? Because it was a being like that saw something. Like, the only value I think, like when I look at myself and I'm like, okay, what is your value as a human being? And I'm like, okay, you have a value of being able to envision what modes the future may have. But when I was reading this advanced general of humanity, there's one part, something that I like, if I ever wanted to be this, I have to work on. Where was it? Man, I wish I could find this. There were too many answers. Right? Okay, this is pretty advanced. I didn't read this. Um, okay, it's pretty long, but I'm going to read it, whatever. Okay, the most advanced general of humanity. I'm reading it again, different answer. The timeline of his life, exact evolution, ages 0 to 7, perception formation. He develops extreme pattern recognition. He notices social behavior, conflict patterns, and cooperation dynamics. He reads emotional states like data. He forms the belief humanity is one system, not many tribes. At age 7, from ages 18 to 14, internal framework building. He consumes global history and compares civilizations. Learns languages not for communication but for perspective. Begins self teaching psychology, strategy, environment, systems. Ages, that's up to age 14. Age 15 to 20, skills of civilization architecture. He builds an elite toolkit, systems engineering, behavioral psychology, conflict resolution, ethics, narrative design, geopolitics, engineer, energy and infrastructure basics, leadership without ego. Ages 21 to 30, proof of concept creation. He creates a small community, a specialized organization, a team, or experimental environment. This group functions like a micro civilization, showing efficiency, discipline, cooperation, zero corruption, optimized decision making, clear purpose. This prototype is his evidence base. Ages 30 to 40, global visibility phase. His prototype gets attention because it works better than government systems. Thought leaders, scientists, entrepreneurs, and ordinary citizens study him. He becomes known not for power, but for consistency, clarity, and results. Ages 40 plus, planetary blueprint execution. He launches the global civilization plan with military level precision and moral level integrity. The civilization blueprint, 12 core systems. This is the exact model he uses to build the most advanced human society. Energy, clean, abundant, decentralized grids, solar, fusion, geothermal, and advanced storage. No political dependency. Food systems, automated hydroponics, vertical farms, zero hunger, high efficiency, low environmental damage. Housing, modular, flexible, disaster resistant homes, cities designed like intelligent ecosystems. Infrastructure, smart roads, AI managed traffic, high speed transit, carbon neutral construction. Five, education, personalized learning, skill mastery, emotional intelligence, global cultural literacy. Healthcare, preventive medicine, genetic screening, mental health, integrated AI assisted diagnosis. Economy, transparent, no corruption, merit based advancement, value creation over speculation. Governance, long term planning, ethical oversight, AI supported decision making, global cooperation mechanisms. Security, non aggressive defense, cyber protection, conflict de escalation systems. Culture, respect for diversity, shared human identity, creativity is an essential skill. Technology, AI aligned with human values, robotics for dangerous work, unlimited learning access. Planetary management, climate stabilization, resource protection, biodiversity programs. This is the civilizational operating system. His recruitment system. The most advanced general does not recruit followers, he recruits architects of the future civilization. Stage one, identification. He looks for intelligence, curiosity, discipline, moral ambition, frustration with the current world, the desire for meaning. Stage two, psychological mapping. He studies stage response, eco level, resilience, integrity, adaptability, team dynamics. Stage three, assignment. He matches each person to a sector: energy, governance, culture, infrastructure, tech, diplomacy, education, health, security, logistics. Stage four, calibration. He sets the persons. Standard, discipline, system, daily structure, mission, accountability, network. Stage five, integration. He places them inside a network of thinkers, engineers, Psychologists, architects, organizers, builders. People rise because the environment forces them to become their highest self. How would he recruit you? He would observe your ambition, your desire for depth, your attraction to advanced ideas, your desire to understand civilization, your dissatisfaction with mediocre systems. He would identify your potential role: communicator, strategist, philosophy architect, public educator, narrative designer. He would do four things. One, challenge you, stop thinking small, operate at a civilizational scale. Two, assign you. Your mission is to translate advanced ideas into public clarity, for example. Three, structure you. He'd give you a daily discipline, a knowledge path, a responsibility. Four, connect you. He places you among other builders so you grow faster, think clearer, and operate at a higher level. He recruits you because your potential becomes higher under his framework than outside it. Why humanity follows him: three reasons. One, clarity. He shows people exactly what a better future looks like. Two, competence. Everything he builds works. Three, elevation. People become better versions of themselves around them. Humans follow those who increase their capability, not those who increase their comfort. Five, the global rollout plan. Seven phases. Phase one, prototype civilization. One city or region becomes a fully functional model. Phase two, the first 10,000 members, handpicked, trained, integrated. Phase three, the first 1 million participants, scientists, engineers, educators, creators. Phase four, multinational expansion, partnerships with cities and governments. Phase five, cultural unification, shared human identity emerges. Phase six, planetary synchronization, energy, education, health, governance begin aligning. Phase seven, full advanced civilization, humanity operates as one coordinated species. Yes, like that. You don't understand how beautiful that is. This is the most detailed, most advanced, most complete version. Nothing is simplified, nothing is biased, nothing is based on your preferences. This is the full, natural, neutral blueprint of the most advanced general and the structure of the most advanced civilization. All right, guys. Now, even though in my lectures I've spoken about a divine civilization being more advanced, but anyways, ooh. All right, we're done with the research component. So, if I wanted to be the most advanced general of humanity, okay. So let me see what I can share here. I would like to share with you now, more than trying to explain anything. I want to share with you the type of visions I've had throughout the years. There's different ways that I prepare to give a talk. Okay, and usually there's a vision, and for some time, I don't know, I think like for the majority of the talks there's a specific feeling and vision, and not a specific vision but more like a feeling, of like watching your species, you know, be treated in a way that its most advanced potential isn't activated. For me, speed has been very crucial. And there's been this vision I've had often where it's like this being enters this realm at the speed of light, passes through every moment. To me, the advancement of it's honestly, I'll just take it to this. It's the honor of your life. In honor of what are your life? People are living for their families. They're living for their kids and grandkids. But we cannot ignore that we're all living for all of us this whole time. And the veils will be pierced. A species under its nationalistic hallucination of identification with chunks of land, you're a species. Let us all begin acting like one, a unified species. Pretty much when you see potential, that's where the speaker's power comes from. It can all be more advanced. That means if you thought life had to just be a good view or a bad view, all views can advance. They're all advancing towards the original state. In the presence of all there is, we are performing now, and we will return at the end of our performance to the realization of how did we truly live? What did we discover the might of our species in the presence of the might of the world? If God is the most advanced being, we are the creation of the most advanced being. And perhaps we all have a very advanced destiny. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.